Welcome, Sadie, to Series 1, Episode 2, The Sexy Check. And today we are going to be talking about female empowerment, confidence, and all of that sexiness that I know Sadie will bring to our listeners tonight. So, I mean, Sadie, to be fair, I'm not even going to lie now. When I think of the word sexy, like your name just springs to my mind, and I don't know why that is.
Oh, thank you.
Might be able to share with the listeners why I think that, because I think you've got a little bit of an inkling of why.
Yeah, it's something where for a long time my concept of what sexy was men wanting to touch you and enjoy your body and have
Well,
sex. Yeah, basically.
we like that though, don't we? Let's be
Oh
honest.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we do. We love that. We
All the
do love
feels.
that. We do, but I'll tell you what, and I can't help but think about it. So I know we said we'll just keep this whole conversation unscripted and we'll just keep it real natural. But I was thinking, like, why has she chosen me? And why do I feel like, as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, yes, absolutely yes. Because to me, I feel like when you've like hit that sexy success, when you're really feeling that in yourself, it's got nothing to do with your relationship with other people. It does have a knock-on effect, but it's those little intimate moments that you have with yourself that makes you feel sexy. So it's not, I think we need to like unravel our understanding of what sexy is and how actually it's got nothing to do with your relationship with other people, but 100% your relationship with yourself. And like little things, like I said to you, I've got 4 kids and dogs and a husband. So I decided to make a homemade curry tonight, which I do once a week. And it's lovely, apart from you end up smelling of curry. And like, and it was delicious. It was really nice. And I've been cutting back on salt, so it was tasty, but it could have been a little bit better with the salt, but
Yeah.
there you go. So I was just like, I was sat there with the kids and I was drinking my water. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be doing this Zoom, this podcast, and I'm going to be smelling a curry. So I took myself off and had a shower. And this is where, when I talk about like the sexy things, people think, oh God, she's off her tits. Like, how is that sexy? But
That's
you
why I
know,
love you.
it's all these little sensory things. Like, I love smells. I love how things feel. So I have my shower at the right temperature. I lather my body up and I think nice things, and like when I'm just it's just like you're having that moment with yourself. It don't have to be like this laborious task where you sanitizing yourself or it's just purely for hygiene. You can really enjoy it, and then like brushing your teeth, thinking, oh, this is nice. It's getting rid of that smell, that taste of curry, and having the water, and then my perfume. It's like just the little things. I know some people are like, oh, I don't bother putting perfume on for bed. I only use it for like, special occasions. Well, one, it's gonna go off, and why is your bedtime routine not a special occasion? Like, like seriously, but I've moisturized my body so I'm looking all healthy, it feels nice. I put that smell on, and I was sat here, and then the kids are going crazy, so I'm just chucking more sweets at them. I'm like, please, please, just leave me alone. Let me just have like an hour's peace, please. So yeah. So when you first mentioned it, and I've been thinking about it today, I think there is a little bit of that, but also it's the body confidence, it's the bare less dancing, it's the photo shoots I've done with Debenhams, the body confidence photo shoots I've done locally with my other female entrepreneurs that I've done, and yes, I get it, and I'm here for it.
Oh, Sadie, you just tick all the boxes when I think of, just like I said, female empowerment, women that have just got that sexiness about them, like understand the value of self-care and pouring into yourself. And you do that, and you do it really, really well. So there was only one person for that for episode 1 for sure. So thank you for saying yes. And I think by the end of this, the listeners are going to have, a lot of value to kind of take away and kind of look at maybe rediscovering their sexy a little bit more. you know, not necessarily in the bedroom. I know we spoke about that before, and it is needed. Like we have our needs as women, and men have their needs, we have ours. But sexy is in so many different formats, and yeah, you're definitely the woman for that. So let me ask you a question, and I want to take it back to the old Sadie. So, I mean, I want to know this. Have you always had that sort of confidence, that female confidence that you show now? Has it always been apparent in your life that?
Absolutely not. No, I think this goes back to like my misunderstanding of what sexiness was. And I think a lot of people would say, oh yeah, but you used confidence. But I didn't. I used vodka on a Saturday night. That's what I used. And that's the difference. Like, if someone was to describe somebody as confident, they might say like the way they hold themselves, the way they walk into the room, the way they command the conversation, that type of energy. But then there's also like a subtle, quiet kind of confidence, which is still very sexy. But I think it doesn't matter whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, it's you can still hone into your sexiness. So there was a long time where I associated being sexy and being confident as being loud and like, here I am. And that's how I felt like I had to be. So, and that's as much as like there are times where like that sort of energy is needed and it's fine and I'll bring it. And, you know, when it feels right, I don't like to force it. I think a lot of the times where people feel like they have this misalignment or they're a bit, they don't understand, or you end up frustrated, is if you're getting drunk and the only time where you're feeling like you're sexy is when you've had a drink and you've got that so-called Dutch courage. And I'm thinking if you can work on yourself and have that realization that actually that's not all it is, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, like have a glass of wine and you walk somewhere and you may hold yourself differently, but one thing I've noticed, and this is how I know that I didn't have that confidence before, is that whether I've had alcohol or not, whether I'm dressed up or not, whether I've just got this on, whether I stink of curry, whatever, I still feel sexy in myself and I still have that confidence. But prior to that, I put a lot of my self-value and self-worth in the hands of other people, mainly looking for love in all the wrong places, going out, having a drink, thinking that if someone chats me up or someone wants like some attention or my number or whatever, then that must mean that I have self-worth, and that in turn means like, you know, I need more of that to make me feel confident. And I don't mind saying like that's for a long time, that's what I understood. But then the next day you just come crashing back to earth and realize it's not good. You just used and abused. But the worst thing is as much as you can turn around and blame all the other men for using, abusing you, the worst thing was is you disrespected yourself. And yeah, I learned that lesson. Yeah.
I don't think you're the only one, Sadie. Let me tell you, I think we've all been there. It's that need and that want for love, isn't it? So
yeah,
we
definitely.
kind of, you know, bring it on, and the drink doesn't help, does it? Let's be honest. Few wines, few proseccos. Who's taking me home?
But another thing as well, like I always thought you had to be skinny, thought you had to be have big boobs, blonde hair, white. And I thought that is what sexiness was. Like everything I saw everywhere else, and not so much social media because that wasn't like a big presence when I was like in my in my 30s. I'm so old. Not my 30s. Yeah, my early 30s, late 20s. There wasn't a lot of like social media.
Was
There was
it?
no, so you didn't really have that, but you did see like in the media in general and on television what sexy looked like. And I used to dye my hair blonde all the time. I would have it straightened. I didn't put chicken fillets down my bras because I didn't know there was a thing. But what I would do is get toilet roll. Now this is quite a handy trick because when you go to the bathroom and there's no toilet roll, you're like, oh no, hang on a minute. But you just have to make sure you take an even amount out of each one. Otherwise, one big boob or one little boob. That's not good. I not gonna lie, I've done that before. And when you forget and you take your bra off and you are feeling sexy, or you think you're feeling sexy, your bra goes flying, tissue there and tissue there, and like, what's that on your nipples? A little bit of tissue. But I think you just live in your life about things like that, though, don't you? But yeah, I definitely didn't feel sexy. But I feel like nowadays, especially with, and I don't mind saying it, and it doesn't, and it's not me being big-headed or anything, but I've taken it a point in myself over the last few years, especially after having Saphir when I had postnatal depression, is there's a lot more positive influence if you're surrounded by the right people on social media to help you with your body confidence and to really see that value in yourself and get your self-worth from yourself and realize, sounds cheesy, but it was within you all along.
Yeah.
You have the power all along. It's not in anybody else. But I think like I have with my actions and the different projects I've taken on, like with the modeling ones, it's not one where I'm just like, oh yeah, I can't wait to take my kit off and model. Somebody did offer me a paid job modeling for some underwear, but she was underpaying me. She wanted to pay me less because I was overweight and black. So, and one of my friends, she said, she knew her. She said, oh, by the way, she pays her other models this amount of money, but because she wanted to come to you to tick the diversity and to tick the fat box, she thought she could get away with like charging you less. So I was like, no, thank you. That's not what I'm about.
No, you know your worth and you want to add tax to that, please.
Yeah. But I think like when you go through these things and you get any sort of value, me personally, I feel like I've got like an obligation to other women to just share my story. It's not to like preach and be like, oh, you should love yourself and you should do this and this is what it looks like, because the way I show my self-love is gonna look completely different to like the way you show it to yourself. But I found massive value in that. Like my relationship with myself, obviously that was more important, but of course I'm a mum, I wasn't say I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend. When you've like poured into yourself and you are feeling at your most confident self and your best self, then it has a knock-on effect with your relationships. The way it just naturally pours into those other people, it's so much better. So when like I talk about the importance of like of self-confidence and body confidence and just like really not necessarily like going straight in with saying, yeah, I'm massively in love with myself, but at least understanding that you're with yourself for the rest of your life, and it's always going to be changing, and like it's that one relationship that is the most critical because it absolutely affects your choices, the friendships you make, the way your dynamics are within your like relationship or your marriage, all of those things. Like for instance, talking about being sexy, after I had baby number 4, I really wasn't feeling sexy because you don't. But yeah, my husband started taking pictures of my bum and smacking my bum and he's real sexy. He like say, oh, can we have sex yet? And I'm like, God, it's been half an hour. Like literally, I had her at home. I was laid on the sofa, then in bed. Yeah, it's just I ain't gonna lie. I know, you know what I mean? But you just don't feel it yourself. But there's little things where I don't know, you give yourself grace and time. And for me, burlesque dancing, that has been very instrumental in me helping me bring my sexy back, or at least align me back in with like my relationship with my body.
Yeah.
You get that from like yoga, fitness, walking, just using your body really, but particularly when you're doing sexy dancing like that. And the funny thing is when you see the end performance, I've seen it, it looks really sexy, but when you're doing those rehearsals and you're learning those moves, and sometimes you're doing them in slow motion, that sexy slide on the floor with your bum up, when you can't get up because your boobs are stuck to the floor and there's friction and you just feel like a snail, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've had prolapsed my bladder out now. Oh my God. It's those sorts of things. But that's not to say that ain't still sexy, because you can laugh at it and it feels great. And then when you've done all that and you've had that, I don't know, you've got that adrenaline going, like you'll probably find it when you come back from the gym and you've got that adrenaline pumping, and then you come home and and you're more likely to want to like jump on your husband because
Do you know, Sadie, it's not even
great.
jumping on your husband. It's just like your whole persona changes.
Yeah,
You've got that spring in your step. You're positive. You're high in energy and spirits when you're moving. Like
yeah,
there's nothing worse than just sitting down because you just fester. Like getting up and getting your blood moving and getting all your endorphins going it does wonders for your confidence. You've just
yeah,
hit the nail on the
massively.
head there with that. It absolutely does.
Yeah. I do remember because after I had Sophia and I was not in a good place at all. I remember one point getting up off the sofa and looking, but to be fair, in like, to myself, I was breastfeeding, and a lot of the times I would just be sat there eating biscuits, or I made these power balls with coconut, and you're only supposed to have like 2 of them, and it's helps to bring your milk supply in. So I made this big batch thinking it'd be really healthy. There was quite like high in good fat content and all that, but not if you have the full tray. If you have like you have 30 in one go. I was just sat there in this chair with the baby there, and I was like, I just could not stop. I was like, I just couldn't. I was inhaling those things. And then I got up and I looked at the seat, and the seat just had this indentation of me. And like the conversations I had with myself, I was like, you fat bugger, like, look, you've just annihilated all them coconut balls. It's like the milk could have been there anyway. And look at this sofa. You're gonna need a new sofa. You've probably broken it. And it's one of those moments where you're like, oh, I need to sort myself out a little
Stop
bit.
shit out.
Yeah, yeah. But I think I'm not really one to shout out and ask for help and say, oh, do you know, I'm really struggling mentally or anything like this. I snapped at my health visitor, and yeah, she ended up saying, oh, I think you need some like additional help. And I did, but I really did not like putting myself out there and asking for it. But then even then, to give a Prozac like straight away. It was like, bam, here's some go see your doctor. The doctor gave me Prozac. I walked around like a zombie for about a year. I was neither here nor there, not excited, not depressed, nothing, just like, yeah, whatever. But then I remember weaning myself off, and then I had acute fits of rage. So
Yeah.
no, I went cold turkey. I had acute fits of rage. He put me back on them, and then I safely weaned myself off. But the best thing is I remember, I'll never forget, I went into that doctor's surgery and I was so proud of myself. I was like, I've weaned myself safely off Prozac. I'm feeling much better. I'm walking, I'm eating healthily, I've lost weight, and I've really taken ownership of my own health. And he just looked at me and was like, all right, cool. Thanks. He wasn't even bothered. But that was a moment then when I thought, he genuinely doesn't care. He's not invested in like my
Health.
self-confidence, my health, anything that about me. And so that was a moment where I thought, right, it's up to me. I can't wait around. Like, it's okay asking for support and help, but you've got to, it's not a fix all. They're not going to do everything for you. You have to do that work
Also,
yourself.
the doctor is not always right. Like
Yeah.
those tablets, like you said, those tablets, I understand why the doctors prescribe them, but they are so quick to just go, you're depressed, there you go.
Yeah. I think it made me, I'm just got my heating on in at 30 degrees. It's like, it's like we're back in Mexico. But we're not. Right, we'll put it back to 20. Then if Rob comes in, he won't have a
Turn that off.
No.
Can't afford
Yeah.
it.
Oh God. Yeah. What was he saying? Oh, brain. But yeah, I think I don't know, sometimes you do feel like other people owe you something. But I look back now, and that's what I was going to say. I was like, I did ask for help. I asked the doctor for help, and he just gave me a load of pills, and then I sorted myself out, and I was really proud of myself for that. And the people who I expected to be clapping for me, they really weren't, not at all. But then when I talked about it on social media, and I had people say, "Oh, I've had a similar experience," or you know, or they are having a similar experience. I thought, all right, good, this is a good thing to talk about. It was quite cathartic as well. But also there were people messaging me privately saying that they'd had a similar experience or they was looking for advice. Because sometimes like the support group on Facebook, oh, it was for postnatal depression. It was a competition for who was the most depressed. And by the end of the day, like someone's had a psychotic episode, and no, it really wasn't at all. It's like I think when you've got like some sort of problem, rather than fixating on like a support group for that problem, it's to think, what is a solution for that problem? And then you straight to that community and surround yourself with those people. Because I remember my friend said to me, do you want to do, this was after I had Leonard, so he was number 3, said, do you want to do this body confidence photo shoot? It's suggested nude. So I was like, well, I don't have matching underwear, which is another one. Treat yourself to matching underwear because it makes you feel real good. Because if you think, oh, what if I get hit by a bus? They're going to be like, dirty child, her underwear don't even match. I don't think they'll care, and you certainly won't care. But what I'm saying is, it's a nice feeling when you put matching underwear on. And she said, it's going to be suggested new. So I didn't even bother taking my bra. So I walked in there and I didn't know anybody. I had my dressing gown on. I was a little bit like, oh, I'm a bit shy. And then once I got talking, I felt more comfortable. It was a male photographer as well. So instantly I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? But when he spoke, he had a heart of gold. I've been friends with him for about 5-6 years now. He's a lovely, lovely guy. And he was great. And so it came to the photo shoot. So I took my dressing gown off, like I'm ready. And I looked and everyone had their bras on. Because I can't even bother to bring a bra because it wouldn't match my pants. So the girl next to me, she looks and she was like, oh. So she undid her bra, took her bra off, and then the next person was like,
oh, you knew it.
Bras. Honestly, the whole photo shoot, completely topless, and it was amazing. And I thought, do you know, it's like that's just like the power of one thing. And all those little insecurities that everybody had, nobody spoke about them, because like you would think it yourself and you'd pay someone a compliment, like you got beautiful boobs, you've got gorgeous bum or whatever, you gorgeous eyes, your hair, or just, and when you've got to know them, you'd say, you know, you're a really nice person. So it's all those compliments. So people are more fixated on like, you know, when you look at someone, me personally, especially when you were feeling like that in a vulnerable state, you're looking at these other women, not thinking, oh God, she's got one nipple goes that way and one nipple goes that way. You're thinking like, wow, she's got a stunning figure. And it was a real eye-opener, and it was really empowering. The idea was we had to stand together in what dress sizes we wear. And what was amazing is not one group pair dress size looked identical. Like everyone's body shapes were completely different. So that it was really, really nice experience to do. And then my friend Charlotte said, are you going to come along to the burlesque classes tomorrow then? Because I've been telling her, when I'm skinny, then I'll come. When I've got my fitness up, then I'll come to dance. And she's like, you've got that the wrong way around. If you want to get fit and slimmer, then you need to get yourself to dance class. And it's right. It's like, if you want to get yourself feeling sexy and confident, then you have to do all the actions that make you feel sexy and confident. And if you don't know how that feels to you, whatever it is, just try anything and everything.
Try everything. Try yourself.
Yeah, but that's like, remember if you was a kid and there was like, right, you're gonna have to find all these things, you have to play with all these different toys and see what you like, and they aren't gonna stand there and be like, I'm not gonna play with the Lego, I'm not gonna play with the building blocks, I'm not gonna climb that, I don't want to swing.
Aren't they?
No, but are they? They're just gonna, because they just get in there with life, don't they? It's like they've got no like previous experiences or misconceptions of what things might be, or they don't care what other people might think. So the best advice that I was given then was to, well, actually I think she said, oh, shut up and just bloody come along, have a look. If you don't like it, you don't have to come back.
Oh, it's that, isn't there?
But if you just say, like, you know, if whatever it is you want to grow, then you need to do it, which, you know, which it makes sense, doesn't it, with anything? Yeah,
it does. I love that, Sadie. I love that. So let's go back to the steps, really. So what was the steps that took you to just say, fuck it, I'm me, and if you don't like it, lump it?
wow. think there's like a little bit of stubbornness in my nature.
Mm.
I'd quite a lot of external voices telling me that'll never work. You can't do that. You can't do this. You're doing this too much. So I think I got to a point where I had the realization that too many people felt like they owed me these opinions and directions, and that I somehow had some obligation to take
Fulfill their
what
needs.
they're saying and to live my life based on what they were saying. And so I got laser focused. I 100% just I didn't really know where like the whole journey was going. All I knew is that I needed to take away all the things that wasn't me. All the things that were making me feel frustrated were the things that I was doing that wasn't aligned with who I was. So I had this whole self-growth journey, reading loads of books, Tony Tony Robbins for breakfast, literally. I
Love it.
would wake up, I'd listen to him in the morning, just loads of like I would soak up anything and everything. I would go walking, I'd listen to things in my ears. And I think that's when I did that. And then once you start when you've made that decision, and then you're being intentional with like the things that you're doing, your friendship circle changes. And I did notice that looking back, because I feel like this is something where it's not like this journey where it goes up, because I am talking now about a particular point where there were friends that I had where those friendships no longer serve me. I want the person for them either. And we all went our separate ways, and it was fine. And then I made a complete new circle of friends, and it was great because the conversations are completely different. The energy is completely different. It feels great. But I feel like you're still always going to have things that come up in life, like you have another baby, or I don't know, just life happens in general, and sometimes it knocks your confidence down. So I feel like to sum it up in steps, and you've got to have that moment of realization that something's got to shift. And if you feel like if it's your confidence or there's something in yourself, you're holding yourself back, you need to have that realization. And then you need to take those steps. And those steps could be doing something new.
Yeah.
I would say 100%. And I know that might sound really vague, but if you continue doing the same daily routines that you've been doing, then you're just going to keep getting the exact same
Nothing's
thing.
gonna change.
Yeah, nothing at all. And it might sound really
Wow.
bad. Yeah. I was thinking oh, like when I was at my healthiest, my fittest, and my most productive, my morning routine looked completely different to how my morning routine is now. So then I've had that realization, right, I know exactly what I want to do, but it's not going to look exactly like that because I only had 3 children.
Yeah.
I only had 3 children and 1 dog, and now I've got 4 children, 2 dogs, and a cat, and a partridge, and a partridge. I actually got a partridge. But yeah, I think it's having that realization that something's got to change, and then it's getting yourself in that space. Like if I was to say, right, well, tomorrow I'm going to wake up really early, and then I'm going to go on this run, and I'm going to eat this and eat that, it won't work. And I've got Christmas around the corner, so I have made steps where I've written down what I want my daily routine to look like, and then I have a look, and I've put in where my priorities are, the things that I can't change, the things that I can change. And I've really delved deep, and that's like a personal thing. This is something that you can't ask for help with. Sure, there are people that can help you lead there, but I think it's a solo journey. It's a solo task that you've got to do. But it's even that in itself is really good, because as you're writing and you're brainstorming all these notes, it's embedding something in your head, and you're like, I'm already excited for the 2nd of January when I can start things. And if we're having this conversation in June, I wouldn't then say, oh, well, on Monday, this is when it's going to happen. I'm only saying the 2nd of January because it is Christmas. And then I've got that weird period in between Christmas and New Year. And I'm being realistic. By the end of it, I will be like 90% cheese and homemade pate by the end of then. But I will be ready. And I got an email to say, oh, your gym membership starts up again on the 1st of January. So don't even think they're open on the 1st of January, but yeah, it's all coming together. It's like there's loads of little things. But I've sat down, I've made a note of what I want, and then I've made a plan. So I know what I need to be doing to get my routine back up and going. So if like the end goal was to give my confidence like a huge boost, then that's definitely a step to do. Make sure you're surrounded by people who are going to be on that same path, or if they're not, like, you know, if your husband wants to eat chocolate cake every night, you can't expect him to drop his chocolate cake. But I think you've got to have those conversations with those people around you to say, like, I really want to make a lifestyle change for me because I'm approaching 40. I'd like to be a little bit healthier. I want to get rid of this lethargy. I want a boost in my energy, just all these different things. So these are the changes that I'm going to be doing. The support I need from you is just to look after the kids, or, you know, show them how they can help you. So whatever it is, like the end goal, I think if you have that open conversation with those people around you and you've got that support, then at least you know that you can go into it and it's realistic, it's going to happen. Yeah, this is sounding like a lot of steps. I think that's about it,
Oh,
really.
yeah, I mean,
It's just like, I don't think there's ever like an end goal. I
there's
can think
not.
like I could think about the time when I didn't feel great at all.
It's
And
just
then,
a step and a step and a step
yeah,
and a step. Like
then you might fall and then a
sometimes,
step.
yeah,
Yeah, and it
it's a
changes.
journey.
Like we had this conversation the other day, because I was thinking like before after I'd had number 3, got my fitness back up. Like, honestly, I had abs and everything. I remember like, oh my God, my stomach's hard. Like, what's that lump? Oh, it's an abdominal muscle. I remember like having that moment. And then I was thinking, after having Edith, I feel like I'm ready to get back into like being little Miss Motivator again and doing all that. But then you think, oh God, am I perimenopausal? Like, my iron's low. My iron's never been low. Now I'm like, my kitchen cupboard with my spices. I've got my spices there. Then I've got my supplements there. So like, I'm taking like these vitamins, magnesium, so that I don't get headaches and to help a brain fog, and vitamin D,
You're
B12.
preparing, my love. You're
Yeah,
preparing.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No,
We've got
that's
to
it.
do this as
Yeah,
women. This is the
this
thing
is
because
it.
our hormones control
Yeah,
everything otherwise, Sadie.
absolutely. It changes. And I think that's another thing as well, is if you're on this step and you think, right, okay, so let's say if you could sum it into like some 5-step or 3-step process to be feeling like super sexy in yourself and super confident, however that looks for you, just have that realization or that acknowledgement that sometimes something is going to come up that will knock you back. Like maybe your routine has to change, maybe you get a cold or something, but it's having something that's not necessarily physical, but where you can like meditate or do like Ashley's hypnosis, which are absolutely incredible. Like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like if I can't, like, I had an episode. Oh, I said an episode. Oh my God, I was like a lady. Oh, I had a funny episode, a funny turn I did. I thought I had appendicitis. It was horrendous. I said it feels like I've been shot and stabbed at the same time. I was like, I've never been shot or stabbed, but it was horrendous. I was
It was
crying.
painful.
I didn't even cry during labour, and I cried at this, and I had no pain relief with Edith either. And yeah, but for that week, there's no way I could have done anything physical. I couldn't do my dance practice, and we had a show coming up, so that wasn't good. But you've got to have that compassion towards yourself, because you realise these things happen. That is life. It's not meant to be plain sailing, and all these things you have, they do make you stronger, because you think, oh, actually, I overcame them. And whether that's overcoming something physical or overcoming it mentally, you still overcome it. It's okay, I'll fix it. My 90s foil Christmas decorations fallen down, and children are feeling the need to tell me. I don't know how it's fallen down there, because they don't just spontaneously snap.
One of them's been swinging off it.
He'll have jumped off the stairs or something trying to get. But this is it, like things come up in life, and you just have to know, like, what can you do to still make sure that you're filling your cup. And for me, it's like taking that time to meditate, having a bath, or having an hour away from the kids.
Yeah, just sitting in the
Right.
car for me is one,
Yeah.
you know, when you've like shoved them in the house and you're just like, I'm just going to sit here for 5 and just have
Yeah.
a minute with myself.
Yeah, that like really needs normalizing, because I know like when you see it in movies, like the mums, it's like, oh God, isn't she so ungrateful? She's got all those kids and she's like, go away, I just need to bang my head against the wall. And it's like, it's not. It's like you need to breathe and just chill out. Like as much as Rob will, you know, he works hard and he goes out to work, he's out the house. He has that car journey with no one whittering in the background, and then he has his work. And then he can sit in his car like around the corner for 10 minutes if he wants before he comes in the house. Like, I don't really get a lot of the opportunity, but I think that's just why women and mums, that's why we're like equipped to do all that, because we take appreciation from those little things. Like I've really learned when I get in that shower and I have 5 minutes, you better believe I'm going to enjoy lathering up my elbows and moisturizing my heels, and you know,
Ooh,
all those little things. Like even in the morning when I get up early before all the kids, so I can have a cup of coffee or whatever, a glass of water.
out them going, Mom, Mom, Mom,
Yeah, yeah.
bananas, Mom, Mom,
Yeah.
shoes, Mom, I've
And the
not done my
wondering.
homework.
Yeah,
Mom.
yeah. Yeah, always. Or like I saw you, it's like you forgot it was party day.
Oh, it's every
Yeah.
day.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, bugger. Because Safi had a thing last night, and then it was party day for her today. So, because I've got no phone, I had to quickly check on my laptop. Like, right, Leonard's is Thursday. You don't need that. Harry is at secondary school. He's got a non-uniform day. So I'm like, Harry, you've even got clean clothes. They're like, well, I put them in the laundry this morning. I'm like, I haven't done any washing today. It's like, so what you mean is you just put it in the pile that I've climbed over today. It's like, I ain't done any, so now I've had to do it. Just like, yeah, that's what, and he has to take cordial in, orange
Yeah.
cordial, like to not to drink, but to donate to the food bank.
Oh, yeah, we've had
Yeah,
all that.
yeah, but
Ours was.
he's had to go to the shop twice because they brought it in, and then Leonard opens it and just has a swig of the cordial, neat, because that's what these kids do, don't they? But I think going back to like what we're talking about, when you've got all this stuff going on with life, I can understand when you have those days where you're like, I'm not feeling sexy, I'm not feeling confident, I'm not really feeling me or whatever. And I think when you get to that point, it's having that realization, that conversation with yourself, and just thinking, right, well, all those things that the kids have got at school, they're gonna have to get them done anyway. And just thinking, where can I find some time, or just saying, right, I need half an hour to do this, or I need an hour to go wherever. And like going to the supermarket, that's not without your kids. That's not self-care. I do, oh yeah, go and do your food shopping without your kids. Like, all right, nice one. That's really good. It's not, is it?
It's for them. It's for them. You go and get
Yeah,
your food, do
exactly.
the necessary things. It's not for you. Going
Yeah,
to get yourself a bubble bath without a kid being in the bath with you is self-care. You know,
yeah.
that
A lock on that door.
yeah, or going shopping for yourself. Go and get yourself some new matching underwear, what we spoke
Yeah,
about.
matching underwear, some nice body lotions, nice shower gels, and because you know, I did say this on one of my lives the other day, and I just had a chuckle with myself. I'd needed some deodorants. I'd got some deodorant from Aldi, and it's awful. It's like it don't smell very nice. And what else did I use? I think I put like Rob's bubble bath in. He's got real sensitive skin, so he just puts this awful stuff in. So I had this bath, and I thought it doesn't even smell of anything. It's a little bit weird. I put this cheap bloody stuff on, and then I'm getting ready, and I'm putting all like my fancy potions on my face and my really nice skincare, and I've got that crappy deodorant on. And it's weird because I noticed those things. Like some people wouldn't notice them,
I
but
know.
then when you get like I don't know, just like, I don't know, instead of getting a 50p liqueur one, maybe you splash out and get a £1.50 Dove one. It's like this little thing. And it just smells a little bit nicer. Body lotions, again, like if you get like a nice
You just
scented
get to
one on.
smell it.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
the
It's just
feel like
yeah,
luxury.
yeah, honestly, I love it. So like after I come off tonight, I'm gonna be feeling really grateful that you've asked me to come on, which I am. I've had a really good conversation thinking about, do you know what? I've come quite far in my own self-confidence journey, and I feel great. I know there's going to be hurdles ahead, but I can absolutely 100%, I'm well and truly equipped for them. I'm looking forward to all the cheese and homemade pate, but then I'm also looking forward to getting back into like my fitness routine that I had before with a few tweaks. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to take my makeup off. I've already put my perfumes on, and I'm going to get into
Nice.
bed. I'm going to get into bed feeling all nice and de-stressed, and then we co-sleep with two of the kids still, so they're going to jump in. But you know what? I love it. I won't have it any other way. I sleep on, we've got an emphasized bed, so it's absolutely massive. Rob's miles away, and he'll be like, oh, I wish we could be one of those couples that can cuddle. And I was like, yeah, but you wanted to make these babies. So
You've
we
had
need
enough cuddling
yeah.
for a lifetime, pal.
We need to go get him in their own bed. But Leonard doesn't sleep next to me. He sleeps by my feet. So
Oh,
I can feel him there. He's like there, kicks me. And then Edith sleeps here and she turns around. The cat comes in at about 2 o'clock in the morning, which is
so
great. And then one of the other dogs, he likes to come in and get involved. And then Bob sleeps at an angle, even though the
oh,
bed's active. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I
it's
wouldn't.
madness, but do you know what? It's only going to be madness for so long. They're not going to be wanting to be in bed with you all the life, are they? And the day that they don't do it is the day you're going to miss it.
Yeah,
You know what
definitely.
I mean? So you've just got to lap it up, lap it up.
Yeah.
So one last question, and I mean, Sadie, I had absolutely loads of questions written down for you, but we really do not need to go through them all. But there is one thing that I really want to ask, and that is, and it's personal, really. If you wrote a book, what would it be about, and what would you title it?
Hard.
Because you know, the reason why I asked this, Sadie, is because I genuinely believe that everybody's got a really powerful passion or what's the word? They've got like a gift. They've got something inside of them that they really need to share. And I always think that's a great question to ask a woman. Like, if you was going to write a book, what would it be about? Because that would give you the idea of what your sort of passion and purpose is in life. And because you'll know it deep down, you might not know it to say it out loud, but I think you do.
Yeah. There's a few little things. I think there's always going to be like pinnacle points in your life at certain times, and the recurrent theme that I can think of is, oh, I wish the me from the future could go back and just be there and say, you know, it's all going to be okay. It's not good now, but it's going to be okay. Or, you know, I think it'd be more like a letter. I don't know how I would title it, but I think it'd be around the themes of me writing a letter to my younger self,
Oh,
or even like, yeah, because this you always make a decision, but sometimes your decisions are based on your self-worth, your experiences, how much you let other people's influence on you, affect you. And you can't be so naive to say that, oh, it's all on you and you're the only one that's responsible. I get that, and yeah, we all have these choices, but that comes with maturity. I think when you are a lot younger, you're not as mature as what you think you are, and you are vulnerable. You don't like to think of it as that, but you are vulnerable, and you are under other people's influences, and that is going to shape decisions. And one thing I've always said is don't regret the things you do, regret the things you don't do. Sometimes I use that to excuse crappy decisions that I made, repeatedly made, but then I wouldn't be who I am now had it not been for that. But I think sometimes it would be nice to not necessarily have I wouldn't listen to other people. I didn't listen to other people. I've always been quite stubborn, or like I needed to go through things myself,
yeah.
learn things myself, and then I would do it. Like if someone was to advise me of doing something, I'd think about it. I think about their level of experience in that, but it's something I would need to learn that lesson myself, particularly with like a few things from like when I was younger. So whenever I write about, I would love to write a book, and I think I have got a book in me. And not to say like my life has been so extraordinary, but I absolutely think that there are lessons that I have learned that could be that definitely would be of value to other people. But also when you're raising babies and you're raising women, you've got these little girlies, then it would be good, I think, if they, when they're older, if they was to read this book of their mum, not so much as like a memoirs as such, but with a load of different
Lessons learned.
yeah, and also like, yes, I can do. You know, just to say, well, all right, so you did make mistakes. You're not perfect, because you do put your parents on a pedestal sometimes, don't you? And it's not a very good realization when you realize that they're like, oh, what parents make mistakes too.
Oh
So
gosh, don't we just? They just don't know.
that's a,
And
that's a bloody big one, that, Katie, because there's I could be talking for like hours and hours.
you
And
know
there's
what though? I really needed to say it because I wanted it to trigger something within you, because I see your worth. I know you see your own worth, but other people see it that little bit more than yourself. It takes you a little longer to realize it, don't it? Like, it's mad.
yeah,
Other people can see it for you before you see it
yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
And for me, like, I know I keep saying like that sexiness, that confidence, that female empowerment, but for me, that letter to your, not just your past self, like the younger version of you, but your your minis, like the letter to your minis when you're no longer here, like that living that
yeah, that
mission in your children is like, that's what I can see from you. A book like that speaks to our younger generation. I'm going to tear up now. I'm going to cry. Oh
no.
God.
No, when you said it, I thought it does, you can't help but think of things, and that are upsetting, and you don't like to relive. And sometimes I don't really touch on it or talk about it, because I've done that and I've learned from that. But it's definitely something that, and I'm not alone in like those experiences, and there's definitely value in sharing them.
I definitely
Yeah.
agree. I definitely agree. And
I think I'll
preparing and armoring those young girls that are going to be going through all of the things that you've gone through, and, you know, shaving off all of that, you know, and preparing them mentally and physically.
yeah. Well, like you said, it is empowering them. And I know it's a word that is, you see on Insta and on social so much. And I think people lose, well, ironically, it kind of loses its power because you're saying it so much. But when you talk about it in respect of preparing your children, not to say that they're going to go through these horrible experiences, but it's just to say that there are still disadvantages. There's still a lot of discrimination going on now, and there are things that you'll come up against. Maybe you do have to try harder, or you've still got like the way men look at women, sexualization of children when they're teenagers, all those issues that they're innocent to now, but making them aware at an age appropriate level and getting them mentally equipped to genuinely empower themselves, so that if they're ever up against a situation that makes them feel uncomfortable, they can say, I feel uncomfortable, and they know that they feel okay in saying that, and they can talk to me, their dad, their teachers, whoever, like any other peers around them. Don't lick that. And that, to me, that is like true empowerment, like to the core. Like that word, even though it is used so much, it is so powerful.
It really is. It really is. And women definitely know how powerful it actually is, especially when you're raising daughters. So I just want to say, because I can see you've got your absolute hands full now, it only gets to a certain point and the kids want to be in and they want to be involved. And she is just so beautiful. Oh, look at her.
Hi.
I just want to say, Sadie, thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
Um,
thanks for having
thank
me.
Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your your voice and all of your wisdom when it comes to confidence and unlocking your sexy. I think women and listeners are going to really take some value from everything that you've said today. I mean, I'm going to listen back to it probably 3 or 4 times because you went through so much good stuff there. So thank you for that. And yeah, that's it. I mean, the next episode is episode 3. That is going to be airing in 2 weeks, fresh into a new year. So those of you that are listening on Spotify, tune back in 2 weeks for episode 3, which is Success with the amazing Ashley Obrien. So from now, I'm just going to love you and leave you for tonight. Sadie, good luck with motherhood tonight. It looks like you're up for a long haul. I don't know what your lad's doing there in the background, but he looks like he's having a whale of a time.
Always. It's a fun house. Whee!
Motherhood in all its glory.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sadie,
Thank
for your time.
you.
And I will see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, darling.